Ladies and gentlemen, you welcome to this news hour on Equinoxe television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital. Well, I am Bable Jonathan. In our top stories in this edition of the news, Southwest Governor Bernard Okalie Pillai tells the population of Ekondo Titi, the Indian Division and the Southwest region as a whole to collaborate with security and defense forces in the fight to put an end to secessionist activities and attacks in that part of the country after the killing of the divisional officer and mayor of Ekondo Titi and 4 other persons in an ambush yesterday. And in the far north region of the Republic of Cameroon, inhabitants of Toros in the Mokolo subdivision, Mayu-Chanega division are putting hands together with security and defense forces to build a strong military post or police post to stop sporadic incursions of militants of Boko Haram, to stop them from continuing to kill, destroy and loot their properties. And we shall also talk about the fight against other ills in the Republic of Cameroon in this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast. And news out of the country, Russia is intensifying bombardments on Ukrainian cities while the UN is overwhelmingly condemning the invasion. Gunshots were heard in anti-invasion protests in Ukraine. Stay with us. Those were top stories. At least 5 persons have died in a road accident in Bekoko in the Mongo Division, littoral region of the Republic of Cameroon on National Road number 5. 2 vehicles, a public transport vehicle and a heavy-duty truck, came into a head-on collision last night. Details with Mala Glory.
Two vehicles damaged beyond repair. Clothes, shoes and other valuable materials abandoned at various spots. This is following an accident that occurred at 1 a.m. this Thursday morning. It was around 1 a.m. in the morning that the accident took place, just in front of me while I was going somewhere. The truck was entering Douala while the bus was traveling out of Douala to the west region. The bus was about to double another vehicle, but unfortunately led to this, where 4 people died in the bus while the driver to the truck died as well. A public transport vehicle leaving Douala by night after an hour drive collided with a heavy truck at Bikoko neighborhood on the National Road number 5. The 70-seater bus was about to double another transport vehicle, but unfortunately clashed with the truck, which led to the death of 5 people on the spot. A victim who survived the accident says he has no idea how he got out of the bus. Unfortunately for his father, he died on the way to the hospital. This other man on his part says he was just informed to come and pick his father's corpse to the mortuary, who is the driver to the truck. Part of the injured persons have been taken to the Lakintani Hospital, while the divisional officer of Dibombari carried the others to the Bonasama Hospital.
Poor overtaking, which falls within the framework of poor conduct of drivers on the national highways, at the origin of this other road accident. And there are other causes of road accident, including the bad state of the road, the bad state of vehicles and others. Of course, these have been causing deaths on national roads across the Republic at close intervals of time. Now to Ekondo Titi in the Indian Division, southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon, where the localities or the administrative units, divisional officer and men were killed by armed men in Bekora yesterday. They stumbled on a mine, on an explosive device which detonated and killed them. The two officials and 4 other persons died in that incident. And after that, the governor of the southwest region, Bernard Okalie, was in Ekondo Titi earlier today to take stock of the situation, and the governor urged the people to collaborate with security and defense forces in their effort to put an end to such atrocities happening in the 2 English-speaking regions of the Republic of Cameroon. He told the people that they should be calm and that government is taking all necessary measures to make sure that this does not happen again. The killings, destruction of properties that have been going on in the 2 English-speaking regions of the country for over 5 years now. And the governor has repeatedly called on the people to collaborate with the security and defense forces and administrative as well as local authorities in order to put an end to the war or the crisis, and of course restore peace and normalcy across the 2 regions. Take a listen to Governor Bernard Okalie.
The reason of our coming here is known. It's on behalf of the head of state and the entire government. We came here to assess the situation and to reassure the population that the head of state and all his government are there, are behind the population of Ekondo Titi, and that as the head of state always said, all the means will be put in place to neutralize those evil forces, those who want to destabilize Jan Division, those who want to destabilize the Southwest and the entire nation. As I said in my message, the forces of evil will never prevail on the forces of good. The state is for good for everybody. The state is working for the security of the population. And the population of Ekondo Titi should remain reassured that from the head of state, from the prime minister, who is a son of this place, and from the entire government, all means are being put in place to eradicate this phenomenon of terrorist attack. The population of Jan Division are known for their patriotism, for their peaceful way of life, so they should not panic. They are not abandoned, as some may believe. The state is there, and the state will continue to protect them. That is the message I carry from the head of state to deliver to the population of Ekondo Titi and Indian Division, to tell them that
in the far north region of the Republic of Cameroon, another region hit by security crisis, inhabitants of Turu in the Mokolo subdivision, Mayu-Chanaga division, are building or constructing a security post in Tufu to stop Boko Haram militants from attacking, killing, destroying, and looting the properties. And they are doing this, according to them, to collaborate with the military or the security and defense forces. But they say that the latter has abandoned them, and they also complain of having been neglected in their quest for a befitting or a good health center to cater for victims of Boko Haram attacks and sick persons in general. Innocent has more.
Repeated bloody and destructive attacks orchestrated by Boko Haram insurgents in Turu pushed these inhabitants to erect this security post in Tufu. Feel abandoned, they decide to do so on their own to protect the over 75,000 people who have not known peace since the past 3 years.
Motivé à faire le poste entre Tufu 1 et Tufu 2.
We decided to take this action to protect our lives. The council has not been supportive. We can't sit and fold our arms waiting for Boko Haram fighters to come and slaughter us and occupy our villages and force us to live on hilltops. We have taken our destiny into our hands.
C'est la communauté elle-même qui se sont battus.
Quand on s'expose
When we feel insecure and move up to the defense and security forces, they tell us they are not here for the population only, but also to secure the territorial boundaries. So we are worried and need protection help.
Vraiment, faut que le gouvernement pense à nous.
Turu does not also have a good health center to cater for the victims of the Boko Haram incursions. The lone existing suffered several arson attacks and now functions paralyzed.
Le bilan était énorme.
The terrorists set fire in several wards and burnt 4 vehicles during the first attack. In the second attack, they vandalized the main building and carried away drugs and other items.
Emportant les médicaments, les blouses, le bilan était vraiment énorme en matériel.
Due to this, wounded Turu locals or the critically sick are either transported to Mokolo or Marwa over a distance of about 100 kilometers. Coupled with the deplorable road state, some die on the way before reaching hospitals in these localities.
Ici à Turu, nous n'avons pas un centre de santé.
The leftover hospital we have here in Turu does not have wards, maternity, consultation room and laboratory. We refer critical cases to Mokolo or Marwa. Getting there from here is a perilous journey.
C'est très compliqué. Des fois, beaucoup de gens meurent sur la route et même l'état de la route ne répond pas.
The health center is not only scanty of drugs and half-raised, it also lacks personnel. Only 2 or 3 medics are present for a population of 75,000 people.
Depuis 1958, il n'y a aucun effort qui a été fait pour subvenir aux besoins de la population sur le plan de la santé.
While coping with the situation, the abandoned population still nurse hope the several unfulfilled promises made to give Turu a befitting hospital and staff will one day be fulfilled.
Coming up, ETV's Davidson Maimo in Limbe takes a look at tension in the air in the OPEC city ahead of the election of the new city mayor of that part of the southwest region of the country. Tensions notably within the ranks of the ruling Cameroon People's Democratic Movement CPDM militants and officials in that part of the country, with allegations that the Central Committee of the party may impose a candidate for that position, this which is not accepted and will not be accepted according to the militants of the CPDM political party in that part of the country. Davidson Maimo has more.
That's where they cut money and no play with that thing. No action.
Land crisis in Bojongo, Boye subdivision of the southwest region goes off hand, with some persons wounded.
You don't bring people them, bring outsiders them, collapse them with the hole, all kinds of sticks them. May they can't take one land, they get all the work again for inside this side. So we don't put in and say no, it be outsider for the village show.
The prompt intervention of the defense and security forces quelled the tension as some persons were arrested. The paramount chief Vekima Efeswa says thugs were hired.
You cannot bring thugs and with machetes and come and terrorize the people. I mean, there was bloodshed over there. We cannot have this continue. This is a threat to the Bonjongo people. This is a threat to the Bonjongo court area because as it started here now, if it is not checked, it will spread all over.
The chief says his people are disappointed as the alleged thugs were later released.
The people of Bonjongo are extremely angry. I've done my best to try and calm them down. So, They are ready to defend their land. What is theirs is theirs. Anybody who is dealing with these guys and trying to take what belongs to the people of Bonjongo is doing so at his or her own risk.
In a crisis meeting at Bojongo Paramount Chief Palace, Esunga Lungonje says the people of Bojongo stands with their chief.
Those people around us who think that land grabbing, illegal sales of land is the way to go should know that the Bojongo people will not stand for it. And we are all running behind our chief to ensure that all our land comes back to the people.
Sources say the senior divisional officer for FACO Ngamba Emmanuel Edu summoned the parties on Monday the 28th of February with a meeting adjourned to a later date as a person claiming ownership was not present. Every effort to get to the other camp was abortive. The land is said measured 14 hectares, and it is not the first time a standoff has occurred between the people of Bojongo with individuals claiming to have certificate on community land.
Davidson Maimo reporting there on a land quarrel that is turning bloody in Bojongo in the southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. And now we come back to you, Davidson Maimo, on tension in the air, notably within the ranks of militants and officials of the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, CPDM political party, ahead of the election of the new city mayor for Limbe after the death of Andrew Mutanga Monjimba. The election was initially scheduled for the 2nd of March 2022, but was later rescheduled for to Friday, 4th March 2022. Davidson Maimo reports.
A tense political atmosphere engulfs the city of Limbe to the election of a new city mayor after the demise of Andrew Mutanga Monjimba. Series of meetings are taking place even during nocturnal hours. Communicators say city councillors and municipal councillors of all three subdivisional councils that makes up the Limbe city are presently in a state of dilemma, with so much promises put at their disposal by potential candidates. Being a CPDM-run council, the party is not left out from the game. This is evident as FACO 1B section of the party, the mayor of Limbe 1 and the councillors of Limbe 2 municipality have officially endorsed Chief Ndive Okangale Daniel I, the mayor of Limbe 2, as their candidate.
And we want that all the councillors of Limbe 2, Limbe 1 and Limbe 3 join their forces and voting, because he's a dynamic young man, charismatic, and in a cosmopolitan town like Limbe, we need somebody, as they call it in French, a rassembleur, somebody who can unite people, somebody who can make us with the future elections, even if the opposition is there.
Some political pundits opine that the mayor of Limbe 3 municipality, Seke Diboti Luma, the first deputy city mayor, Karen Tanga, among other names, are potential candidates with underground campaign ongoing. Anonymous sources say Yaoundé, within the past 1 month, has received more brown envelopes and smoked quota fish than one can imagine from potential candidates just to lobby for their support. Some councillors and CPDM members in Limbe say they are already flexing their muscles to puncture any investiture from the party top brass in Yaoundé.
CPDM is a disciplined party, so hierarchy cannot go against it.
Say no person shall be imposed on them as city mayor. Rather, a free and fair transparent election through the ballot box shall decide the fate of the people of the seaside resort city of Limbe.
Davidson Maimo talked to other militants and supporters of the CPDM political party in Limbe concerning the possibility or allegations of a candidate from the Central Committee of the CPDM party. And this is what they told Davidson.
Mayors should not be asked to resign. They should go in for the position of the city mayor. After the election, those two positions are not compatible. Then you will choose either to step down as a mayor, or better you step down as an elected city mayor. Cameroon is a democratic country. CPDM is a democratic party. They should allow us to elect a mayor that will work for the interests of the population, not for the interests of some particular people in Yaoundé. The Limbe councillors would not accept that.
If there are 10 candidates who want to contest, don't have any problem, let them contest. The final saying is from the box, from the ballot box.
Our party is a democratic party, so we are looking forward to meet on Friday to democratically elect our new city mayor.
We have studied the text and we are going to implement what it stipulates. So we are all going for election. I don't take to social media, and God will bless us and give us somebody who is a rassemblement de peuple.
We are not doing reorganization of our basic organs here. And we are ready to cast our votes. Not somebody imposed by us who will be there for those people who imposed him. It cannot happen. There is no other option on the table other than election.
To elect a city mayor is not an issue that they will impose. I want to think that all these informations on social media are coming from the opposition. And mind you, we are voting a city mayor for the city of Limbe, not for a particular party.
CBDN does not invest people, CBDN does not impose people. They believe in the spirit of democracy. They are going to allow all the councillors of the 3 councils, there are 75 of them, to choose the person that they want, free of choice, based on their choice.
We will not accept for anybody to come and choose or impose to us. We, the councillors of the Limbe municipality, will choose the person that we will elect to put there.
Ahead of the 2022 International Women's Day, Immaculate Fogwe takes us into the world of the women of Fumban in the Noon Division, West region of the Republic of Cameroon, their challenges and how they are thriving through those challenges. Her report.
Agriculture is one of the principal activities carried out by women in the Noon Division, the West region of Cameroon. Rural women are key agents of development and they play an important role towards achieving transformational and social changes required for sustainable development. But limited access to funds, healthcare services and education are among the major challenges faced by the women. The women have been grouped under associations. The objective is to reinforce the leadership capacity of the associations. In such associations, farmers, traders can collaborate in order to enhance economic growth. We equally saw the essence of digitalization as we plan teaching the women on how to use their cell phones to generate income. The situation is further aggravated by the global food and economic crisis and climate change. Our focus was on how to make our environment suitable for humans, reason why we gave the women plans to grow them in their different farms in order to encourage forestation. These activities are being carried out ahead of the 8th of March Women's Day celebration.
In news out of the Republic of Cameroon, Russian forces intensify bombardments on Ukrainian cities as the United Nations overwhelmingly condemns the invasion. Explosions rang out in Kiev and Kharkiv as Russian forces intensified their bombing campaign on Ukrainian cities Wednesday on the 7th day of the invasion, and at least 21 people were killed and 112 others wounded in the Kharkiv bombardment after Russian airborne troops landed in the city about 8:30 p.m. Tuesday East Central Time, according to the Ukrainian forces. And of course, Kharkiv has been the scene of some of the worst shelling by Russian troops since the invasion began. The president of Ukraine has denounced attacks on civilians, calling the striking of Kharkiv's central square Tuesday as an act of state of terrorism. Meantime, gunshots are heard during Ukraine's anti-invasion protests on the streets of the city of Melitopol, chanting Melitopol is Ukraine and waving Ukrainian flags. The people took to the streets protesting against the invasion of their country by Ukraine. Now, coming up in Talking Point, we shall discuss recent happenings in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon, the two English-speaking regions of the country hit by crisis, tensions, killings, destruction for over 5 years today. First guest today, Professor Akumbom Mark Anthony, civil society leader and university lecturer. Professor, you're welcome. Professor Mark Akumbom Anthony is a civil society leader and lecturer in several universities in Cameroon, and we shall be talking with him the issues in the northwest region of the country. Also joining us from the United States of America, Dr. Emma Osong. She is a leading civil society voice in the United States of America, and the Cameroon-born civil society leader is championing the cause for justice or peace based on justice in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. And she's joining us today to discuss issues, notably the killing of the divisional officer of Equinoxe Titi and the mayor of that locality, and 5 other persons. That was yesterday. Dr. Emma Osong, you're welcome to the program. Dr. Emma Osong is joining us from the United States of America. She is an American of Cameroonian origin. She is one of the country's notable advocates and leading voices striving for permanent peace based on justice in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. And she is the founder of Women for Permanent Peace and Justice, WPPJ. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Jonathan, for having me here today. I hope you can hear me.
That was just yesterday, less than 24 hours ago. The divisional officer of Equinoxe Titi killed, the mayor of Equinoxe Titi killed, and 5 other persons in an explosion in Bekora village. What's your take about this recent development as far as the crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of the country is concerned?
Sad occasion. It is regrettable. No matter the circumstance, there is a child out there whose parent is not returning. There is a mother not coming back, a wife whose husband is not coming back. But let's recognize one thing, Mr. Babila, that the military in southern Cameroon is under the civilian who is in charge of their deployment. I don't know if you can hear me clearly, but what I was saying is that the military in the southern Cameroon is under the civilian command, and that command can be traced to the district officer, to the mayor, and all the security personnel who are in that area. We also recognize that Mr. Biya himself, a civilian, is the person who commands this military. So the security architecture is in their hands. And what is going on out there, the killing of civilians, the militarization of urban settlements, the towns, hamlets, and villages that are all militarized, is their responsibility for promoting the ongoing violence. We have a scenario where Mr. Biya is blinded by sheer opposition to legitimate concerns from the people, concerns that he himself admitted to in 2019 at the Paris Peace Forum. So we are here today decrying the loss of life at all levels, but recognizing where the buck stops, as we say in some parts of the world, and that it is time to call for, one, accountability of these crimes on all sides. It is time to recognize that justice cannot be seen as a privilege. The district officer moves around with heavy military guards, with heavy protection. What does that tell you? In hosting the AFCOM and also allowing the mountain race to go on, Mr. Babila, it is under, by the way, heavy militarization. It is by definition an admission that nothing is normal in southern Cameroons, but that there is a push to normalize peace. You
See,
cannot
I've
do
said
so.
this already, but let me just say it again, please. As we proceed, we need to be on the same ground. Today, there is northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, and not southern Cameroons, please. All right, now, why are you blaming the head of state for something done by armed men? Armed men killed the divisional officer and the mayor of Ekondo Titi. Why are you blaming the head of state for that?
Simple question, Mr. Babila, with a simple answer. Why are the cities, the towns, the villages militarized? Why are civilian settlements militarized? Can Mr. Bia answer that question?
Some little connection issues there with Dr. Emma Osong, a leading civil society activist in the United States of America, joining us there. And we're discussing, of course, the issues in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. Dr. Emma Osong, if everything is okay, tell us why you're blaming the head of state, why you're blaming the government for the killing of officials, an administrative official, a local administrator, and 5 other persons in an ambush by armed men in Ekondo Titi or in Bekura village.
I think I did answer your question, Mr. Babila, in saying that why are the cities, the towns, the villages militarized? Why are civilian settlements heavily militarized? You only do so if you are in a state of aggression. And that obligation to militarize goes straight to the top. At the local levels, it is the civilian command, the district officers, and the governors who are in charge of the security posture of their area. Why are civilian settlements militarized? Why are thousands of people in the bushes and many, many more internally displaced? So we can trace the responsibility for the militarization right to the top, to Mr. Bia. That is the answer that I'm offering to you. That we cannot afford to have justice seen to be a privilege to some. The district officer can move around heavily protected in an area where he is responsible for the militarization of that area. So, as I say, all lives lost are regrettable. There is a child whose dad is dead. There is a wife whose husband will not come home. There are hundreds and thousands of wives, mothers, and children in the bushes, unable to return because of collective punishment that resulted from this militarization of their settlement. So it is on us, on civil society, to raise the alarm and not cease to call on the political will from leaders, international partners, to come in and bring the belligerents to sit down and dialogue to end the senseless war that is going into its 6th year.
when you talk about militarization, how does that explain the killings, notably the killings from the side of armed civilians? Because you've been talking much about some of the atrocities that are attributed to the security and defense forces. But what about those that have been attributed to the armed men? How does militarization explain that?
Abila, it's not for me to speak for the armed groups. I don't speak for them. But let me point one thing. When you subject a people to collective punishment, the arrest and disappearance of Samuel Wazizi, the summary execution of families, of these armed groups, family, the summary arrest and detention and torture of families, the burning of children in Garbo. When you talk about the minors currently incarcerated, Sandra and Miriam, when you talk about the Shea and Sika families, whether it's pregnant women in jail, you are exacerbating the tension within communities, and young people then get into a defensive posture. When you bring arms into civilian population, don't be surprised when civilians in turn pick up arms and take a defensive posture. Again, the civilian commander of the army is Mr. Bia, who has responsibility for the security posture in southern Cameroon, who has determined that the area must be militarized in furtherance of its goal of hyper-centralizing that part of the country and bringing it under his command. We cannot allow the buck to go and rest elsewhere. It rests with
in a short while. Now, Professor Akumbo Macantoni, civil society leader, university lecturer, also joining us in this discussion. In your opinion, what explains the continuation of such atrocities in those two regions, including state officials? This is not, however, the first. It started with the divisional officer of Batibu and then continued to others, and recently there were about 6 divisional or regional delegates were abducted, 1 killed. Until today we don't know the whereabouts of 5 others, and this has been happening for over 5 years today. What explains this? Professor Mark Akumbom Anthony, if you're getting me, what's your opinion? What is your analysis of this continuation of atrocities recorded in the 2 English-speaking regions of the Republic of Cameroon? It's been going on for 5 years now, and despite all the efforts, it continues. And the most recent was quite a tragic one, with an administrative authority, a local administrator, and 5 other persons killed in an ambush.
It is an form. Are you getting? Are you okay? If I may answer your question, I want to remind us that the war that we are presently having in the Northwest region and the Southwest region is an asymmetric war. It is not a regular war, which implies that at the moment which we are talking, there are individuals who are unidentified, who have the capacity to step out from the dark and commit acts which nobody will be able to identify them. That is the guerrilla warfare. And if you get back, I want to use an example because I believe that the war should be learning from history. What we are going through in Cameroon today is not new. It is something that had happened in other nations. If you remember back in the 60s and 70s, where the Vietnamese War took place, you remember that it all happened through the same means, where the northern section of Vietnam actually wanted a separation or creating a republic from the southern section run by a French-oriented king, because, like we know, Vietnam was also colonized by the French. And for the sake of wanting to have a republic that is communist in nature, those in the north fought and defeated the southerners and break out the northern section. French and their allies, including the Americans, came in. It never stopped the Vietnamese from fighting till they won the war, because I'll remind you, with all the military might of the French, of the Americans and allies, they never defeated the Communist Party in Vietnam, because those who were fighting were practically fighting a guerrilla war. And so they were always in the hiding. Those who suffered the most in that war were civilians, because they were the guerrilla fighters were among them. So from that case, if that war was never won by the Americans, a peace treaty was signed at the end of the day. Why should we in Cameroon think that the strategy of militarizing the environment would be the strategy to win the war? Militarizing the northwest and southwest regions is not the solution to the problem, because these consequences will always be there, where you will have people like the mayor facing untimely death, people like the GO facing untimely death, and other military officials as well as civilians. And so, in respect to my understanding, if we have to stop this, we also have to be able to pull out the military and settle for a deal, a peace deal. Because
but pulling out the military will look like abandoning the people to the situation over there, and this is why the military is still being maintained there, according to the authorities.
President of the Republic would have already understood that. I didn't get it.
All right, some little connection issues there. We're sorry for the poor connection, and we are wrapping up with you, Dr. Emma Osong. What should be done at this point in time? We'll keep asking this question until we get to the solution. We get to peace and stability.
Jonathan,
This be possible.
the solution is simple. Area. Again, the responsibility for urban militarization goes through the district officer, the implementer of the command from A2D. Demilitarize urban settlements, return your military to the barracks. That's what Women for Permanent Peace have been preaching. Stop collective punishment and subjugating civilians to arbitrary arrest, detention, extrajudicial killings. Those two would stop. Engage in dialogue. Don't engage in...
All right, thank you, Professor Mark Akumbo Mantoni, civil society leader and university lecturer, Dr. Emma Osong, leading civil society activist of Cameroonian origin in the Northwest, or rather in the United States of America. Thank you so much for joining us today. That's it for this edition of Talking Point. Coming up in some few minutes, Equinoxe with Serge Alonto and his guest. Stay with us.